Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new video. It's a brand new week, and I'm here to do that weekly outlook I've been dropping every single Sunday. So just remember, turn your post notifications on if you guys want to get the weekly outlook. And we've been hitting on that exact Monday both weeks in a row that I've been dropping the weekly outlook, right? On Monday, we caught a banger. I ended up making it into a post, and I ended up breaking it down the next week after that. So every time we drop these videos, the weekly outlook videos, Monday usually tends to deliver, but we got a crazy markets here, so we're going to dive into that right now. So we're in the market right now. Before we get started or continue to keep going, right, just a reminder, guys, that I am opening up the mentorship, and I've been keeping it open for the past month, right, all the way into April. We're onboarding students, and I'm currently onboarding more, right? So if you guys want in-depth every single day breakdowns, trades, exactly what I'm taking, post-market analysis, Discord, Zoom calls, and everything in between, everything is in the description. Just reach out to me and I always answer. But now we're going to head into ES and NQ, and we took YM off our watch list. So we took off YM off our watch list because, well, with these markets, I don't really want to diversify right now. I want to keep it simple, NQ, ES, and I'm probably only going to be trading NQ for this week. It's just adapting to the market conditions, right? It's just what I want to do. Also, this is just a tip that I want to tell you guys always is when you guys are doing your pre-market analysis, I do suggest that you guys always do it on the minis. Reason being is because, you know, you're going to see things like gaps that aren't going to be on the micros, or at least to my knowledge. You know, I sometimes am like, what the fuck? Where is the gap that you can see on NQ here and not on the micro, right? So when I'm doing my pre-market analysis, I am looking at the minis currently right now, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going right now. Obviously, you guys know that we do top-down analysis, right? And what I'm doing here is basically looking for any gaps that are happening, or any basically any gaps in the weekly time frame, because I don't really tend to mark anything up on here unless price is really close to the previous weekly level. So here we do have a previous weekly high right here, right? And the reason why I'm only marking it up, and you guys never see me mark it up, is because we are very close to it, right? Another thing that I see right here is that we have a new weekly opening gap right here, right? We do have a gap right here that price is most likely going to come tap into, so we could probably now already start to build a bias, right? What's price going to do, right? Before price reaches these highs up here, we probably are going to come in and fill this gap in right here, right? So that's pretty much it for the weekly time frame, right? I have a previous weekly high I'm closing in on, so either we can use that to fill in this gap, or we fill in this gap to tap that, right? It's all going to come down to the lower time frames. Daily time frame. So there's something really interesting to happen here, right? Obviously, someone can easily look at this and be like, oh, okay, well, you know, price is extremely bullish, right? The order flow is going up, but you got to be careful, right? You got to understand where your market structure shifts. And this, on the daily time frame, is a change in standard direction, right? Is this level right here. Why is it important? Because it can get that notion out of your head, right, that we are bullish, right? Yes, we have been bullish. Yes, we have this crazy candle here, right? And then we got a sharp drop down. But, you know, technically, we haven't really changed states in terms of the daily time frame, right? In terms of long term, right? Because this is not a daily time frame. So it's something to keep in mind of, that it wouldn't be completely out of the question to rule out longs, because we're not really long yet, at least on the daily time frame, right? For the long term, for those of you who invest a little bit differently, and that's what I'm looking at right now, right? Okay, the daily time frame really has to for it to completely shift and us go bullish on old time frames, it would have to break this level, right? So I do believe, right, that again, just a mental reminder in my mind that price is most likely going to tap into this weekly gap, or is probably going to go to this previous weekly high and then drop down. Reason being is because it hasn't really changed directions, right? On a daily time frame, what do we have, right? You know, as like you guys know, I like to mark off my levels. Previous daily high is up here and previous daily low is down here, which doesn't really matter because we gapped up. We're opening up the gap so high now, right? So that really only leaves me to go on to the 4-hour time frame, and it's all the way up here. And this is something I actually really like, because, you know, I think it's very clear. I think I only have two options here, right? And that's pretty much it. Two options, right? And this is a very simple, very simple trade right here. And I'm actually going to be breaking down something completely different right after this. Price is going to do one of two things. I think price is already pushing bullish, right? It's 8:30. Before the week starts, and I think price is going to, one, tap into this previous weekly high, right, and then send price down to fill in this gap. Or if price doesn't tap into this level and we see some bearish action going into here, I'm going to absolutely look to go long in here to take price up to this previous weekly high that's holding a bunch of liquidity up here from last week, right? You can see the massive drop off from last week, and price is now starting to recover. We have a huge gap up, and pretty much it. Those are my two biases, right? Whichever one gets tapped in first, we're gonna have to play it by ear, because again, price can very well, go up here, but then if it starts to close above, and it does close above the previous weekly high, now we have a completely different setup. Now we have completely different buys, and now I might be looking to take longs, and basically hope that price is indeed going to be breaking this change in the state, right? And price will reach this buy side liquidity up here, right? On top of that, I don't think that this overall bearish market, right? For a quick second, let's just talk about the market, right? That is our bias going into Monday, but what's the market doing? Price did put in a low all the way down here, and what price is doing when it did this, right, is take out these lows, right? Low being taken out, low being taken out, right? Low, another low being taken out. Even one all the way down here, right? Everybody's panicking, but to be honest, price has been trading at all-time highs. What did you guys expect? This is basically the discount for anybody that's looking to invest in options or puts or stocks, right? And if you look at the weekly time frame, that's exactly what price did. Takes out all these lows for price to continue to go up. Everybody's going crazy about, oh, well, this is happening and now it can continue. I do believe it's going to continue to fall more, but no matter what, I do think that it's going to rally, right? For those of you who are investing long term, I do think it's going to rally. I'm an intraday trader. I do think it's going to continue to go back up. No matter what, the worst of the worst has happened, and price has managed to go to all-time highs, right? You can even go to 08, right? Look at 08. Look at 08, where 08 does drop to its lowest point it ever did, right? And then what happens after? So don't panic, If you're panicking, it's probably because you bought very, very high and you're holding long term, right? So that's probably why you're panicking. That's your fault. So that is NQ. Now I'm gonna break down something completely different right now that I've never broken down before. And that is gold, okay? That is gold. Why am I breaking down gold? Well, I used to trade gold anyways, and I've just been having fun with it. I've been back testing it for like a week now, and I think it's it's really gonna help just for shits and giggles, you know what I'm saying? Just for shits and giggles, we are breaking down gold. We are seeing what we can do with gold here. I think price is completely bullish. I do believe that we are continuing to push bullish, especially with indices and indices and futures going down. Gold has been a safe haven so far. You can see that gold is at all-time highs, which is actually ridiculous, right? If you hold any gold stocks, right? I do think there's imbalances, right? So I do think to open up the week, we are going to push down. I think a beautiful trade here is one with a bunch of confluences, and it's right here, right? Previous daily low is going to be swept. Daily imbalance here is going to be swept. And ironically, right, when you look over here, the only thing is I'm kind of worried about is the equilibrium point right here is all the way down here. And I don't like that, because what that tells me is that price has a much higher chance of actually not longing until we reach this daily imbalance right here, right? So this is really what I'm looking for here, right? And it sounds crazy, right? We're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna mark this as our EQ, because this is our discount. This is where we want to long at. So I really do believe that price is going to be bearish to open up the week, right? I do think price is what it's gonna do is come all the way down, rebalance this equilibrium. It's going to go into our discount, tap into this level. That by then it'll rebalance all our levels right here, and then price is gonna continue to go up, just like it did here. Exactly the same shit, right? Price pushes up, price completely drops down, rebalances, basically sweeps, and then pushes up to all-time highs, right? And I do believe that price is going to come all the way down here, and I'm going to be looking for longs at 3,085.1, and hopefully ride that all the way up to our previous daily highs. Honestly, probably not. I'm an intraday trader, getting in and out, but that's my breakdown of NQ and gold. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have an amazing week, trading week. Like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.